Welcome to today's edition of the CIO WaterCooler TV. This is part of a series brought to you in association with IBM, and today we're talking all about Predict. And to help me do that, I'm joined by Nick Woods, CIO at MAG. Nick, how are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to talk about Predict with us. What does Predict mean to you and your company?
I guess if I summarise what does Predict mean for us, it's about delivering great service to our customers, to our passengers, and doing that as efficiently as possible. And if we're going to do that, we need to know what's going to happen when. Therefore, we need to predict it.
And I suppose that's probably gotten harder over the last couple of years with all of the uncertainty that we've faced.
I think that's probably fairly accurate. I think if you look at your data models around expected turn-up rates and when passengers are going to come, through the pandemic, all bets went out the window. So everything's been learning and being readjusted as we've gone through. Very different, challenging, but we're getting through
it. Given that challenging environment, how can you use forecasting tools within Manchester Airport to predict and inform business around decision making?
We use forecasting tools all over the place. So whether it is looking at how to predict when aircraft are gonna land and what time, how long it's going to take to turn, and when they're going to be off blocks again, all about how do we make our airfields as efficient as possible. But increasingly, how does the global network get to be more efficient? Ultimately, a global aviation is about taking planes and putting them into little boxes in the sky, and there's lots of airports and lots of planes that you're trying to plug them into. So we're doing lots in that space, working with both National Air Traffic Control, Eurocontrol, and other airports, and how do we make that more accurate? We're looking at it from an engineering perspective around our assets. How can we predict performance and availability of assets and what we need when? And the bit that has been particularly challenging really over the last 12 to 18 months is really on that passenger turn up. So how can we predict when people are going to arrive, either at our security checkpoints on the outbound leg or at our immigration checkpoints, which are actually managed by UK Border Force on the inbound leg. And if you can imagine, back to what I was saying about the airlines and trying to predict when planes are going to land, 3 747s landing at a different time to you originally predicted is all of a sudden going to have a huge pressure onto those immigration halls when you've got 500, 600, 700 people getting off planes at the same time, all of a sudden driving huge demand into them. So trying to get that prediction right from a total airport perspective is what we're really driving at now.
Yeah, I suppose there's two parts to this next question, which would be how much do you trust data provided as part of your predictions? I suppose that's the data that most organizations are worried about, structured data, their own data, and then as you've described there, you're dealing with data that's not your own data, trying to form those models.
Yeah, I think we're taking an approach for how we grade our models around a kind of bronze, silver, and gold model. So if it's manually human input data, that's more towards the bronze side of things. But where we can take data directly from source systems, whether that's radar, whether that's something else, then actually we can move it up through the quality levels and through the trust levels. And we're doing a lot of almost identifying what the outcomes we're trying to deliver, what the problems we're trying to solve, what data have we got to solve that. We've either not got any, we've got human, or we've got data directly from source systems. And the mode that we take is, look, we'll solve something very quickly if we can as a first pass, proof of concept. But slowly, how do you take your models and your reporting up from bronze and through that really trusted level? So, lots of focus on that across the business at the moment.
You've already described that you collaborate to a large degree with other airlines and stakeholders when it comes to prediction. I suppose you've just there described some of those models that you can predict and that bronze, silver, and gold means of categorizing data. How can that help that collaboration, rather than just asking how much do you collaborate? How do you see it improving the predictions that you're able to make?
I think, and having worked in other industries, aviation is definitely catching up, but it's not there yet. There's been a lot of historical challenge around who owns the customer. In theory or in reality, actually, passengers book with airlines, they don't book with the airports. And while we get some data from the airlines around how many people are on a flight, what the mix of those flights is, how many people might need wheelchairs and so forth, a lot of that is manually done today. And when you think about the global nature of this, many airlines, many different countries and regulations, many different systems that are doing, the standardization and data integration around all of that stuff to move to very trusted and integrated data takes time to go and do it. But we're starting to work with, like I say, the Eurocontrols of this world to provide real-time integration around, right, this is what's happening on the ground in Manchester at the moment. This is what's happening at Stansted, which is another one of our airports. And similarly, the airlines are now starting to integrate into us to be able to directly give us visibility of what they're checking in, how many people have checked in their airlines, what their mix is around male and female, which is really important to us from a security perspective in terms of making sure we've got the right number of staff on our lanes in case we need to do searches and things like that. So it's definitely getting better, and definitely a post-pandemic, I would say, the imperative to do that is actually greater than it ever was before. I think we can all see the benefit of doing it and working together better.
Look, Nick, it's been really kind of you rather to give up some time this morning to talk about Predict, so I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, I've very much enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
If you've enjoyed today's episode of the CIO WaterCooler TV, there are plenty more episodes and content to have a look at on the website, so please do take the time to explore that.